In the heart of Alaska's frozen wilderness, the ground suddenly gave way, swallowing a man into an 18-meter icy abyss. What saved him, and what secrets does this unforgiving land still hide? On March 14, 2025, a snowmobile rider was cruising along one of Alaska's glaciers when suddenly the ground beneath him collapsed, and he fell into a crevasse about 18 meters deep. The man miraculously survived, a reminder of how dangerous life can be in one of the most extreme corners of the Earth. Alaska is vast, isolated, and freezing cold, but it's not just the raw power of nature and its harsh terrain that make it perilous. There are even greater threats: earthquakes, tsunamis, months-long darkness, and avalanches. But to understand why all of this happens, we need to go back to March 27, 1964. On that day, Alaska was struck by the second most powerful earthquake in recorded history, measuring 9.2 on the Richter scale. The quake lasted over 4 minutes, enough to tear the ground apart and lift the seafloor by over 9 meters. But the destruction wasn't just from the quake. The tsunami that followed was deadly. In some areas, waves reached heights of 67 meters. One wave was recorded at 220 feet, about 67 meters in Valdez Harbor. Around 139 people lost their lives, most due to the massive waves. What we must understand is that such earthquakes aren't rare in Alaska. It is one of the most seismically active regions in the world, experiencing thousands of tremors each year because it lies right at the meeting point of two tectonic plates, the Pacific and the North American. But earthquakes and tsunamis are not the whole story. Despite its vast size, larger than any other US state, Alaska has a population of only about 7,400 people, with half living in just 3 cities: Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Juneau. The rest of the state is a vast wilderness, almost uninhabited, accessible only by plane, snowmobile, or boats during summer. Even the infrastructure is extremely limited. Alaska has only about 17,400 miles of public roads, with just 6,200 of them paved. As a result, many young people learn to fly before they learn to drive. Living costs in Alaska are among the highest in the US. Healthcare is the most expensive. Housing costs are about 27% higher than the national average. And utility bills, especially heating, can reach $570 per month, the highest in the country. Then comes the brutal long winter. In some regions, temperatures can drop below minus 50 degrees Celsius and last for weeks. There are places that don't see the sun for over 2 months, such as the town of Utqiagvik in far northern Alaska, where the sun sets on November 18th and doesn't rise again until late January. And here we arrive at one of the most complex geographical challenges: permafrost, a layer of soil that remains frozen year-round. Building on it is an enormous engineering challenge. Any construction or road built over it risks melting the frozen soil, causing landslides, cracks, and collapses that can threaten entire infrastructures. Even modern roads in Alaska suffer deformations and fractures due to melting permafrost, earthquakes, and landslides. A prime example is the Alaska Highway, built during World War II with tremendous effort and the participation of thousands of soldiers, yet it still suffers from ongoing damage. It's also worth noting that Alaska is home to more than half of all US national parks, including Wrangell St. Elias National Park, which is 6 times the size of Yellowstone. This means that about 11% of Alaska's land is protected and off limits for housing or construction.